It's the first trip out to Veterans Field. The Chatham A's, the Orleans Firebirds, first pitch coming up at 7 o'clock. Kevin Fitzgerald here with you on Firebirds Extra Pregame. Coach Kelly Nicholson is always on the Coach's Corner here on the Kelly Nicholson Report. And Coach, this is a place that you like coming to. Coach John Schiffner is someone who's been here for decades. You two are good buddies going back. I want to bring up one game, one series in particular. Your first year as a head field manager, 2005, you won the Cape League Championship. You had to go through the Chatham A's to make it to the championship, but there's one game in particular in that series where the Chatham A's were up, game 2 of that series. A fog delay rolls in here at Veterans Field. Game gets postponed. You guys come back and win the series. That's probably one of the most defining series, I think, throughout Cape League history. What do you remember from that? What do you remember from stealing that series back in 05?
Well, what I remember, Fitzy, is that they did not call a fog delay until after they had hit a home run to go up 2-1. And then the umpires called it, and to say I got a little upset might be an understatement. They hit a ball over Robert Perry's head. Robert Perry was from Long Beach State, was going to Long Beach State, and the ball was hit, and RP did not see it. He did not move, and the umpires called it, and of course, that was a 2-run home run. What happened is that we had to come back the next day, and I remember Brant Rustich, we gave him the ball, and he threw really, really well, and we needed to win that game because they beat us game 1, I think, after we had the bases loaded and nobody out in the 9th inning. And they got out of that thing, and they wound up beating us 1-0, I believe. So we came up here, Rusty threw really well, we wound up winning. We hopped in the bus, both teams hopped in the bus. My best friend was here, Doug Fritz, he and his son. They stopped and got us all some Gatorade and brought it back to the field, and we wound up winning. Lee Hyde pitched, and it propelled us into the finals, and we played Bourne the next day, and we wound up winning the next day 1-0 on a Manny Burris, he was with the Giants, he's with Cincinnati now, in Louisville. Yep. Tagged up from third base on a pop-up right in front of our dugout and scored. Manny was obviously fast as a deer, and so those are kind of two fun moments that I remember from that series.
I was going to say, we're taking you down memory lane. We're bringing former ball players, former Firebirds that ran through here. So while we're talking about it, what would be, if you had to look back at the 05 championship, you were here in 03 as well, but you were the manager here in 05. What was the biggest moment that you remember from that season? Is there one game, one performance, a playoff performance? I'm sure that game would be one of them, but what's the one thing that really stands out about that 05 season, a particular player, particular performance? What would it be?
Well, I think there were a lot of moments, Fitzy. It was my first year, and we got real spoiled with that group of guys. That team won 30 games during the regular season. That's when only 2 teams from each division went to the playoffs, and it came down to us and Chatham for the division championship here, and we won that game and wound up winning the division. And then that series against Chatham was kind of epic. They were really good. They had Chris Coughlin, and they had Andrew Miller, and they had some Evan Longoria. And they had some real dudes. And hey, in baseball, as we've said all along, it's not the best team. That they were probably maybe a little more talented than we were, but we just happened to play a little bit better those 3 days. And then Manny Burris in game 1 against Moore tagging to win that game 1-0. And then obviously we went down to Bourne for game 2 and just get our rear ends handed to us. I think it was 13-1 maybe. And then we came back in game 3 at Eldridge. And I think we scored 5 in the first inning, and I think Brett Pill hit a big home run in the first inning, and we kind of coasted. I think we won 13-1 in that final game. So I remember the last out, the last pitch by Stephen Wright, striking a kid out, and the dog pile, and it was pretty cool.
I think John Schiffner would remember that series as well. I think he'd be one to remember that as well. But it's Kelly Nicholson here on the Kelly Nicholson Report on Firebirds Pregame Extra. And I want to focus on what you looked at today's game, 4-4 record. The Chatham A's, they're 6-3 on the year. Bat who's been hot all season long, Chris Marcancini, the Duke first baseman, finding ways to get on base. He's starting to hit home runs. The power's coming around right now. I talked to one scout about him. He said he wishes the bat speed was quicker through the zone. I want to get your opinion on that. Do you agree with that, or what stands out about Chris's game in general?
Well, Chris is a really good player and a good athlete, and he's a big physical kid and a strong kid, and obviously a smart kid from Duke. Sean McNally, when we took Mac when Sean was a coach at Duke, and he loved Marco. And I think when these guys see good pitching every day, they can find their groove a little bit better. Then when they're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're taking Mondays off, they're playing a midweek game, They're practicing Wednesday, Thursday, and then back at it. Hitting's hard enough when you're playing every day.
Yeah.
When you play every third day, it's really difficult. But I think with seeing pitching all the time, we have not taken him out of the lineup. We will give him a day because I think we play 8 or 10 days in a row. We'll give him a day and probably run Betsy over to first base. Yeah. But hey, it's been fun to watch. I was throwing BP today to him, and I always try not to watch where the ball goes, but he was hitting some bombs in BP today, hitting him up on the street. So he's off to a good start. I hope it continues. I expect it to continue. He's a good player, and he comes out for early work. He's a hard worker. Been working with Benny, and going to be a good summer for him.
He is someone where you just marvel at it when he just belts one out to the deep left field, right center field gaps, as we've seen at Eldridge Park. Is here Kelly Nicholson joining us on the pregame show. And we'll finish up on this. You have Bobby Pointer out on the mound. He's making his second start, the big left-hander out of Florida. And a balanced lineup for Chatham. What do you want to see from Bobby in this game early on?
Command of the fastball. Command of the fastball. He's super, super competitive. I think anytime you can get a weekend rotation guy from anybody in the SEC, again, that team has done itself well, and we're lucky to have Bobby. We got him late when we wound up losing a couple guys, and we're lucky to have him. Again, I'm looking forward to watching him compete tonight.
It's going to be Bobby Pointer against Andrew Chin, who's on the mound for Chatham. His first pitch coming up at 7 p.m. He's Kelly Nicholson. I'm Kevin Fitzgerald. And Coach, as always, thanks for stopping by. Good luck today.
Thank you.